I'm Jake Klassen.
And I'm Libby Masari.
And this is Spuds and Sports Med. Today we're going to be talking about the evolution of athletes.
Let me pop my soda.
You're like my little mama. You're like my little mama. Mama. So again, I'm Jake Klassen.
And I'm Libby Masari.
So we just decided to start this podcast because we just had a bunch of like ideas and things we wanted to talk about in the life of athletes and sports, and then also medicine. We're both like very involved in the sports world and also in the medicine world.
Yeah.
We're both actually 2 college students, so don't take anything we say as factual.
Yes.
Just because we are still just like college students, we're not professionals. But we wanted to start this podcast just like as a fun way to just like get our ideas.
Definitely start the conversation. Yeah. We are not health professionals or medical professionals. We are just coming here with good ideas, and we are still students learning ourselves. So
And we just thought it would be a lot of fun. Actually, a little shout out to Cody Miller. He's a swimmer. I actually got the idea from his vlogs, and I wanted to start a vlog, but then I thought my life is not interesting enough to start a vlog, so I'll just start a podcast. And I needed a second person to do it with because I didn't want to do it on my own. And Libby and I have been friends forever. Actually, we met swimming on a club swim team. So I was 13. How old were you at the time?
I was 14 or 15. 1 or 2
Wait,
years
how old
older
are you
than
now?
How old am I now?
Yeah.
25. How old are you?
22.
22.
Right? 22.
We just had
so you were
birthdays,
16. You were 16 at the time.
Was I that old?
Yeah.
Oh my
Because we
gosh.
really didn't swim together that long. It was only like 2 years.
That's true.
In reality.
Why does it feel so much longer?
Yeah. So we actually met on the swim team. I had never swam year round before. I just swam like in the summer. But I wanted to take that next step and go on to swim year round, which we'll probably talk about swimming a lot in this podcast.
Yeah, it is what we know.
Yeah,
isn't
it'll
it?
come up a lot, and just like training in general. But anywho, Libby kind of just took me under her wing and kind of showed me the ropes in club swimming and year round swimming.
Cute.
So yeah, that's how we met. Little intro to me. So I grew up in, it's called Spuds and Sports Med because we're both from Idaho. We love Idaho.
Yeah, we are.
I'm born in Boise, Idaho. Well, I wasn't born in Boise, Idaho, but I was raised in Boise, Idaho from like a year and a half old, and I love it here. Let's see, I went to Capital High School. I'm a Capital grad, Golden Eagles. And then after that, I actually got a scholarship and went and swam at the College of Idaho.
Still swimming.
Still swimming at the College of Idaho. Yep. Still swimming, going into my senior year at the College of Idaho. Loving it there. That's a little bit about me.
Okay.
A little bit about me.
A little bit about me. My name's Libby. Like Jake said, we both grew up club swimmers, very passionate about our world of swimming. I also grew up in Idaho, Boise area. And yeah, we've always loved medicine. I know we both did sports med in high school, and I actually went out of state for college, University of Nevada, Reno, but then made my way back here.
And College of San Mateo before that, right?
Yes, I swam for the College of San Mateo.
And did water polo for a season.
And did water polo for 6 months. They needed a sprinter. It wasn't really a thing. But I loved it, though. I love polo.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we both were very lucky to swim in college, I think. It was a very good experience for both of us. And I've since graduated and moved back here, and I'm now working in orthopedics, which I love. I get to do sports medicine every day, which
Very
is
cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing behind this podcast, and we're going to, in the future, we won't talk about ourselves really much at all, but just for right now, we just wanted to kind of introduce ourselves, and I'm assuming that the only people that are going to listen to this are probably people that we know, but hopefully we can get some people that don't know us, and then they know a little bit about us.
Shout out to our moms.
Yeah.
Our only 2 listeners, probably.
Shout out to our listeners. Yeah. But anywho, so I guess, so Libby is very on the medical side of things, and I'm also, very heavily into medicine. But I'm also a lot more heavily on the sports side of things. So we wanted to combine kind of our areas of expertise and kind of mix it into something that we can talk about. So Libby's very much on the orthopedics and, headed the med school route.
I am.
And I'm a lot more on the I guess I'm headed PT route, but I'm also considering doing exercise physiology, a PhD or a master's program in that, and doing something on that. So it's a little bit more on the sports physiology side of things. So we wanted to just combine our ideas and start a podcast. But the way that these podcasts are probably going to work is we'll have 2 or 3 things we'll talk about. We're going to keep them fairly short, 20 or 30 minutes. And we're going to talk about one thing that's like health science side of things, clinical application type things, med school kind of stuff. And then we're also going to have one topic that's a little bit more on the sports science, exercise physiology side of things.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we'll have a little miscellaneous topic. Today we just have one talking about evolution of athletes. In particular, we're going to be talking, kind of reviewing, I guess, a TED Talk by David Epstein. I thought it was really interesting. I saw it a while back, and then Libby actually sent it to me and was like, "Hey, check this out."
I thought of you. Yeah, he's asking the question: are we getting faster as a human race? We know Olympics every 4 years. Records are broken. Every time, every world championship, records are broken. So he had a great talk about, are we getting faster evolutionary wise, or is it maybe something else?
Yeah. Yeah. And I thought it was really interesting. He just right off the bat starts talking about, technology, right? And how technology has played a huge influence on the world of sport. And I think we saw that very much in our lives in 2009. I want to say it was 2009.
Late 2000s.
Because it was right after the Beijing Olympics. It was after the 2009 World Championships. The world of swimming, I guess, banned full body suits for men. Yeah. Because at the time, if you guys know about this, in 2008, in the Beijing Olympics and in 2009 in the World Championships, all the swimmers were using these full body suits that would go all the way up, cover their shoulders, all the way down to their ankles. But they were very buoyant. And so these swimmers weren't actually like using very good technique. They were just floating on the top of the water. And it basically came down to whoever could spin their arms fastest would win, really, in the end. And so the governing body of the swim world decided we're going to ban these suits because we want to take this back to like swimming at its finest and people getting good at swimming, not good at spinning their arms and having the most money in technology. Exactly. So they banned those. So now we're down to, for men, it's the suit can't go above your navel, can't go above your belly button, and can't go below your knees. So it just kind of brings things back to swimming. And for the girls, do you know the...
Yeah, I mean, we have straps, suits? But they're, spaghetti straps and also can't go past the knees. Yeah. They're very similar looking. Yeah. We just have tops. But yeah, I think right when we kind of got old enough to consider, they're called faskins or the racing suits.
Technical suits.
Yeah, tech suits. Right when we got old enough to, get fast enough and consider getting them. I know some kids older than me had the ones that went down to their ankles. I never did. I don't think you ever did, but we were kind of on that line where stuff had just started to change. And it definitely makes a difference. I mean, we all felt like we needed to have those for the big races, right? For state or sectionals, nationals, any type of big meet. And
what David Epstein, his TED Talk talks about is that he's saying that one of the reasons, he said there's 3 reasons why athletes now are faster, stronger, can jump higher. He says number 1 is technology. Number 2 is the gene pool that we use now, especially in team sports. So basketball, before it was just whoever could play basketball. Now we want the tallest guys. So they're going out and actively seeking these guys. And then the third is mindset. So just like somebody accomplishes something and then that lets somebody else know, oh, it's possible.
That's what we're going to be kind of talking about today.
Yeah.
We loved this video. We thought he made great points. I know that he brought up in the very beginning, an example of, an Olympic runner, and I think it was 1942. They compared his times to Usain Bolt, his latest, world breaking record. And, they factored in the non-absorbent track and the starters, the kick starters, and how that would factor into how much faster Usain Bolt is compared to.
And it really didn't have much of a difference. Like Like when you
No.
brought, it was Jesse Owens. They talked about Jesse
yes,
Owens and brought
yes.
him over and did like a biomechanics analysis on the way he ran. And they actually found that Usain Bolt is still the faster individual, but overall, if you put Jesse Owens in the shoes with the starting blocks and on the same track as Usain Bolt, he would only have been like a foot behind him or something like that.
It was one stride.
One stride.
Very, very close.
So very close. So like in that regards, David Epstein is saying, you know, athletes haven't necessarily gotten faster, but our technology has gotten better. For us, I'd say on the swimming side of things, I'd say swimmers have definitely gotten faster because just like we were talking about earlier, we had those tech suits come into play. Mm-hmm. But since then, we've still seen records broken. So
yes,
we went from
absolutely.
So yes, originally we were swimming in like pools that didn't have very good lane lines. And now we have lane lines that kind of decrease the wake and help you go faster through the water where, you know, we've changed the techniques on how we swim. But at the same time, at the peak of all those technological advancements, we actually came down from the technology a little bit and we still got faster.
Yeah, almost got too advanced there for a while.
Yeah,
and they kind of
ahead of ourselves.
Straightened us out. But I mean, Mark Spitz didn't even have goggles.
Yeah.
Right, which is crazy for me to think about. I know my times would be very much slower if I didn't have goggles. But that was their reality back then, right? Which is that was just what they did.
Yeah.
And it was very, very interesting. I think reaching out to other sports, maybe going back to the example of runners, I think the way we train and maybe the science behind it, the strides we've made, like you said, the training techniques, we've video ourselves underwater before to look at our stroke and how can we improve? How can we tweak this angle of our arm and how can we improve our kick? And that's come through video technology and even the paddles and like
training
bungees,
equipment.
training equipment. Yeah. I don't know if Mark Spitz used a parachute or a bungee, but I don't think so. All this equipment we used and we were just in high school.
It's true. Yeah.
We didn't have to be professional athletes.
And I think that goes into the that kind of goes into the mindset side of things. Like there's the technology and the equipment that we use. There's and then there's the mindset of like how we train. Right. And that was his third point was the mindset. Yeah. Like a couple people now have run the Matterhorn, right? Straight up a cliff. Basically they ran it. And everybody was like, oh, not possible. Can't be done. And then I can't remember who the first person to do it was. It was in that video, but some guy ran it and he basically had to pull himself up on a rope, but he was running up the Matterhorn. And then once he did it, then other people were like, oh, it's possible. I can do it. Right. Like nobody ran under 4 minutes, but then as soon as one person did, then you get a whole group of people after. And I think that comes with like just the mindset, how individuals approach sport has just totally changed. Totally changed. And I think that's led to people knowing that they can go faster. Like for me in swimming, when I actually what am I trying to say here? If you do there's these things called like broken 100s or broken 200s, right? And you do that in practice and you do it, you do like a full race, like a full 200-yard race broken up into parts but with like very little rest in between. So you do like 450s broken up, but you do it at a race pace. Like you're trying to do as fast as you can. And then you go your fastest time, even in that broken 200 yard, whatever, 200-yard butterfly. But you do that in practice, even broken. And then you're like, oh, I can do that in real life. Like I can do that in a meet. And then you go into a meet and you can do it. I think that's the same idea that David Epstein in his TED Talk is trying to say. Like as soon as somebody accomplishes some sort of like barrier bar. Yeah. As soon as one person does it, then you see this like stream of other people doing it.
Yeah, I think that can go to all sports. I mean, you look at gymnastics, figure skating. I mean, the tricks that some people are able to pull off. There was always the first triple sow cow. I don't know a lot about figure skating, but the first trick, and then people watching them, they go, "I want to do that."
Yeah,
let's train how to do that, and then it becomes almost a norm instead of a crazy new thing that someone kind of invented or to excel their sport that they were in. I know that something that always amazes me is the ultra marathon
Oh,
runners, the 100-mile, multiple days at a time runners. I'm sure that was never even a thought. And then a lot of people do it.
Yeah.
There's techniques and how to get yourself to run for 3 days straight. And people do it, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's
I
nice
never
to
thought
see.
that I would meet, like, I never thought that I would know somebody that was like a 100-mile ultra marathon runner, but I know two for sure right now, and I'm sure that I know other people that just like haven't talked about it a lot. But a gal that I actually swam with my freshman year at the College of Idaho, Emily Hoggood, she actually is sponsored by Scott's Running, I'm pretty sure. She's doing a master's or a PhD at University of Western Colorado. But yeah, she like comes in top 5 in these 100-mile races. And then actually one of my professors at the College of Idaho, Dr. Lay, he actually has done several ultramarathon races. Super cool stuff. But yeah, like,
and we live in a small town,
and
we know 2 people. That says something.
Like, it's just interesting, like, the mindset that goes into sports. As soon as somebody accomplishes something, it gives everybody, I think, just like a little bit of hope that they can accomplish something the same or even greater. And now there's so many movies out there. Like, the way that just the general population thinks about sport is like, it's not, like, it would be cool if we could accomplish this, but it's not really possible. Now it's just like, I'm going to do the most insane thing, or I'm going to train the hardest that I possibly can so that I can be the person that sets the next bar. You know, it's no longer about just like being enough in a sport. It's about being the greatest.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think David Epstein talked about that in his video as far as his second point, which was gene pool that goes into radio, TV, when all that came on in the 1900s, people are watching athletes, lifetime basketball players. So I know he mentioned, 7-foot basketball players, that went up because now you gotta, you're really tall. What sport do you get put in first?
Yeah. And he was talking about one statistic that I thought was crazy is he talks about how like there's only so many individuals that are 7 feet tall in the US, right? Yeah. And he says, if you know somebody that is 7 feet tall, that's an American that is 7 foot tall, he said there's a 17% chance they're already in the NBA, which I thought was crazy.
That is crazy. Now that they're in the NBA now.
In the NBA now, yeah.
Currently.
Yeah. An individual that was 7 foot back in the day would not, before the NBA started making players partners in the NBA, before that happened, right. It was like there were way fewer 7 foot
I think
players.
more Americans saw the success, the fame, maybe the money in professional athletes, and more kids tried to strive. I mean, how many people do we know that the NFL is their ultimate goal?
Yeah.
Probably, and everyone listening probably knows a couple. And whether they make it or not is, it's still a very, very hard thing to accomplish. It's very impressive to make it in any type of professional sports. But it's becoming a dream for a lot of these kids. They grow up watching, it's constantly televised. And I think especially, I know this is something I always noticed every 4 years, right after the Olympics would come on, how many new kids joined our swim team.
No, it's true.
It was a rush. It was, everyone watched Michael Phelps and Ryan Lochte, Missy Franklin, and wanted to be like them.
Yeah.
And
so you could even make the argument that there's not just technology, the mindset, and like the mindset in sports and the gene pool, but you could also say, like the media. Right. The media is now affecting the evolution of athletes, right? And I think that plays into the gene pool thing is you see more people getting involved because now more people know about it. Now more people want to do, like, how often do you watch a basketball game in real life and you're like, oh, cool. But then you see like a highlight reel of a basketball game, like the way that the news puts things together or ESPN puts things together. And you're like, I want to do that. That is so cool. Right.
Exactly.
So I think, even the media brings in.
I think it's huge. I think it puts a lot more kids into sports, which is great. But yeah, I think if you're comparing, numbers from centuries ago, not just decades, centuries, obviously sports have gone up in priority and media and viewing. I mean, fans, and obviously it's a big money game. professional sports, even college. I would say even college sports. There's a lot of money in it. A lot of people invested, and it's definitely. I think it's changed the game. I think it's put more money into more research on how can I pour money into my college team or professional football team to get wins, to make money. And I think it fuels a lot of, ties back into sports medicine research.
Yeah.
Because you need funding, right? And I think advances not only in training, but I would like to bring up one point that David Epstein didn't talk about, which is nutrition science. I think has also made a huge difference. I mean, what these professional athletes are eating and fueling and supplementing, I mean, that's got to change the game. What we know about food now, and even hydration and training. And I mean, how much education did we receive, like I said, just in high school or college, about what to eat the night before a meet, the day of, the morning of? It's like one of the first things you learn.
Yeah. And as a USA swim coach, I've done I've had to do a ton of training, and it's in every single thing that the USA swimming organization puts out there. Is they talk about, you've got your training, but then you also have to understand nutrition, right? And you gotta teach kids what to eat and what to not eat. And, so yeah, you're right. Nutrition totally does.
And it's a whole science, I mean,
totally.
You can major in it in college, and it's, I think it's changed a lot of the ways that people not only eat healthier, but how people train. And,
very true.
I've seen, big differences in the way people, what they put in their bodies and how it can affect their outcomes in their races or events or games. So I think that has to say something too. I do.
Yeah. So while athletes may not be we may not be adapting and like mutating and changing to better athletes, the technology that we have, the mindsets that we are, changing or modifying into, and then the gene pool in the sports world do have major, major effects on, how fast the fastest runners are, how high the best jumpers are, and how strong the strongest people are, So it's not necessarily that the same athletes are getting better. It's that we're finding new athletes and finding better athletes.
Pushing
and then training,
the human physique.
Yeah. And then training them better. Yeah. Correct.
To its limits. And, I think it's great that we're doing that. I think we'll continue to do that, for as long as we can and science allows. But I mean, it has showed no signs of stopping. I think every Olympics I watch, I go, we can't possibly swim any faster.
Yeah, and then somebody else does, right? Like nobody thought that anybody was going to be able to go under 18 seconds in the 50-yard freestyle, and then all of a sudden, Caleb Dressel comes out and does 17.
Dressel, shout out to that guy. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd ever seen anyone faster than Nathan Adrian swim that 50-meter free, and it's been amazing, and it's inspiring, and I wonder how far we'll take it, especially like a sprint event. You can't swim a 50-meter freestyle in 2 seconds. So how far is it going to go?
Yeah, exactly.
How fast is it going to get?
Can you?
Or can you?
Can you run 50 yards in 2 seconds?
Maybe.
Is that possible? I don't know. Can we get faster? Can we, is there something that we can do to make things faster? I don't know.
Probably.
It's mind blowing to think about.
It is. And that's why we made it our first topic. I think it's a great broad topic, and it gives people to think about. And if our listeners want to contact us and give us, their opinions and ideas, go for it.
Yeah. Love to hear some feedback from individuals. Again, we don't know how big this is going to get, but we hope that we can get a couple people responding to some things. But we'd love to know, what are your thoughts, your opinions? What do you think about what we got to say? Again, this is from a non-professional stance. This is from a student's point of view, a student of sports and a student of medicine. So yeah, let us know what you think. We're going to finish this podcast up with a tip of the day, or kind of something that you can learn from what we've been talking about. Right. And so, today I'd say for me, my tip of the day would be going back to that mindset thing. If you decide that you're able to do something, you're a lot more likely to be able to do it. I think that just goes back to positive visualization, a positive mentality. If you decide that you can do something, then you're going to be able to accomplish. You're going to be a lot more likely to accomplish that. We got to think about your body type is going to come into effect. I wanted to make the Olympic. I wanted to make the U.S. Olympic team. That was a dream of mine. That's what I trained for my whole life. But in the end, I don't have the genes to do that. And some people are like, oh, like you can work hard and you can accomplish everything, or you can accomplish anything. But I'd have to say that's false. Because in the end, you know, I cannot compete no matter how hard I work, no matter how hard I train. If I train to the same or better or smarter than somebody who's bigger than I am, or just like more fit than I am for swimming, like Michael Phelps has a long torso, short legs, big wingspan, right? He's bred for swimming. Like that guy is genetically modified for swimming, basically.
As most of them are. I mean,
exactly.
And
they
look at the
all
other
are like that.
athletes that stand next to him. They look about the same.
Yeah.
You know, as swimmers are, and even gymnasts, short, any sport, basketball, tall, like we talked about. I feel the same. I think I experienced the same thing. I think I come from a family of soccer players. Maybe that's what I was supposed to do with my life, but I fell in love with swimming. I think one of the great things about swimming is that there's so many different events that you see a difference in body type through those events. There's no way I could have done anything else but butterfly, whether I liked it or not. I have very broad shoulders, a very broad wingspan, and I'm shorter. So distance swimming was not going to be it for me. Yeah. It never was.
So I'd say tip of the day, understanding your body type helps you face, I guess, not accomplishing the goals that you want, right? Because we set high goals and we can't always accomplish those things. So understanding your body type and your genetic ability helps you to not feel as down when you're not able to accomplish your greatest goals. But at the same time, you'll be able to accomplish your body's full potential if you have a positive mindset and I'd say record-breaking mindset. You know, if you're able,
record-breaking.
if you have that record-breaking mindset and you understand your body, you'll be able to see success as high as you can, and you won't feel failure when your body's not able to accomplish something.
Yeah.
Right?
Love it.
Thank you for listening to our first podcast. We're going to keep this going. I think we're trying to make this like an every other week type deal. Again, just like 20 to 30 minutes. It'll be a little bit more structured in the future.
Yeah, bear with us.
We're still learning how to do this. This is our very first podcast. Usually we just talk back and forth for hours. So we thought, hey, we'll make it into a podcast.
Let's record it.
Yeah. So thank you so much for listening. Give us some feedback if you like the tip of the day, if you like what we talked about, if you want us to talk about something else. Love to hear it. I'd love to hear back from you.
Huge shout out to Nick Klassen for recording and editing our podcast. We love you. And until next time,
Spuds out.